Hi, we're here with Seymour F. Bernstein to talk about childhood in New York City.
Yes,
What is your name,
Seymour F. Bernstein.
and where did you live growing up?
I was born and raised at 201 East 33rd Street, Manhattan, just on the corner of 33rd Street and 3rd Avenue. My parents had an apartment on the 3rd floor, apartment 3C, and went to school across the street, right on 33rd Street, PS 116. From kindergarten up through sixth grade.
And what did your father do?
My father owned and operated a hand laundry right there at 201 East 33rd Street, the same building we lived in, which was a five-story apartment house with a few stores on the main ground floor. And one of them was a laundry my father operated and owned, and he had 5 or 6 employees.
And what did you do for fun?
What did I do for fun? Well, I used to play baseball on the street. We rolled marbles on the curb down the street. We used to play tag and
Stickball?
and the baseball was really a stickball, a broomstick.
Were you a member of a gang?
Do I remember the gang?
Were you a member of a gang?
We were not a member of a gang, but we were a member of a baseball team.
On the street?
We called ourselves the Hawks.
Yeah?
Yes.
How old were you then?
And I was from about 10, 11, 12. We were mostly members of the Hawks.
What year is this?
Primarily, this is when I was 10. That was in 1930. In 1931 or 32, when I was 11 and 12. The members of the Hawks were all participants or students at a Hebrew school that we attended at Congregation at Dereth El on 29th Street.
So you were a Jewish baseball team?
Yes.
Did you have baseball bats?
We had bats, we had gloves, and we sometimes hitchhike rides on the back of trolley cars or trucks and so on to Central Park, and we played a few times in Central Park.
How would you hitchhike a ride on a truck?
On a truck, well, we would go on the back of the truck, but the best ride was on a taxi cab. There were 2 rear bumpers on each side of the rear tire. We used to sit on those rear bumpers, hold on to the spare tire that was in the center, in the rear of the taxi.
Did the taxi driver know?
Taxi drivers, some did and some didn't. And if they knew, they would stop and chase us off.
Could have been killed or hurt.
Did you have roller skates on, or?
We sometimes had roller skates when we couldn't get the taxi, yes. We kept them on.
Gee whiz.
How did your team do?
Pardon?
How did your team do?
Our team, I don't know. I think we did fairly well. We also used to play on 33rd Street in the East River. There was a ballpark there, and we used to play. The local teams of the same street or next street and so on.
You were called the Hawks?
Hawks.
What was your position?
I used to play catcher in baseball.
Were you good?
I was decent.
Did
I wasn't a superstar.
did your brother play with you?
No, no. My brother, he had very little interest in sports.
Uh,
Very little.
did you ever get to see the Yankees or the Giants?
Yes, when during the summer, the city maintained a playground for youngsters in the schoolyard. And so I used to attend there. And once or twice a summer, the school would arrange to take all of the youngsters in the playground to a professional baseball park. One of them was um, Yankee Stadium in the Bronx for the New York Yankees, and the other was the Polo Grounds, which was in Manhattan at about 120th Street and up in the east side of the Manhattan.
This was in the early 1930s?
This was in the early 1930s, yes, in 1932, 3, 4.
Did you see Babe Ruth?
I believe we saw Babe Ruth at Yankee Stadium.
How was it?
He was good. He was a hitter, a good hitter. The playground group, when we went into these stadiums, we were seated in the bleachers, way off on the, near center field.
What was the Polo Grounds like?
The Polo Grounds was smaller than the Yankee Stadium. It was a big park, and the New York Giants were very popular.
Were they any good?
They were very good. Uh, they at one time had Leo DeRocha as manager,
Oh, I heard of it.
and I think afterwards or before he was at the Giants, he was with the Brooklyn Dodgers as a manager.